So we came to Miramar to Scott's place, which is really cool. He's got a 1952 house that used to be like a vacation home for people who lived in Miami.
It was the trip. You went on vacation to Miramar.
Yeah.
And so here we are. It's the land of vacations. It's wonderful.
So yeah, he's put all sorts of interesting fruit trees around it. So we're hoping for a little tour today.
Perfect. Yeah, my poor grapevine. Irma destroyed her, or him. I'm not sure what it is. But it was doing really well. It's a Carlos muscadine. It had never occurred to me that you could grow grapes though, because it's so
Different.
And so, as a result of watching YouTube, which is never a good thing, I decided to try muscadines. And this one was doing really, really well. I put it on its little cane and ran it along the fence, and then Irma came. And poor Carlos didn't fare so well during Irma. And it's not growing season right now, so he's not looking all that great. But I promise he will come back. And it's a decent grape. I'm not sure if these are ready yet or not. No, these are actually a little bit old. If you'd like to try one, feel free. They're actually here. Actually,
Yeah, just
try
one.
No, you can take all of them because I'm not going to eat them. No, they're good. They're good. I get sick of them. I come out here like every day and munch on them. I swear. They're okay. But they have seeds. Just be careful about the seeds. Yeah, they're not bad.
Yeah, it's good.
As muscadines go. So yeah, there's Carlos the muscadine. And then here we have
Just like your
this is sculpture.
Yeah, that, like the Wild West look or something.
It's actually a scratching post. When I moved in here, I was going to chop it down, and the cats like it so much. They go up on there and scratch their little claws. I figured, just leave it. And it looks kind of sculptural and something. I don't know. Eventually it'll fall over. But for now, it's the cat scratching post. Here we've got a sad little guava. I think that might be a strawberry or a pineapple guava. I'm not sure which. But I transplanted it in the summer, and that was not a good thing to do. So it'll grow back. It's just not looking very nice right now, as is the case with a lot of the plants.
Another guava?
Yeah, this is. Oh, look, it's going to get some bloom on it. That's nice. This is a Barbie pink, or what's left of her. She was a much bigger plant. And I made the mistake of moving her in the summer too, and she didn't like that at all. So really what you're seeing here is just one branch that survived the move, and that's kind of filling itself out. And I think eventually I'll probably air layer it and start another plant, because I don't know how well it's going to support itself off of one branch. But for right now, it looks like it's doing all right.
Oh, we've got a few things over on this side too.
Yeah. Over here I've got date palms started. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got Barhi, Medjool, and Emperor. I ordered the seeds off of the internet, like I do with everything, and I didn't actually expect them to take. And sure enough, they actually have. So I've got a bunch of date palms.
So do they get to be like 40 feet tall before you start harvesting them?
I don't know. I don't. It like. So much of my stuff, I don't really know too much about them. They just look like fun. So I bought the seeds and thought, I'll try it out and see what happens. And
I've
here
just seen
they are.
pictures of the machinery that's
Yeah.
lifting the people up and they, putting the netting around to pollinate.
And I think you have to have
stuff.
males and females too. I think they're not one of those that are self-pollinating. So, I mean, with my luck, I'll get all one or all the other. And I'm not sure how well they do here in Florida, although I've heard that there are some date palm orchards further north. I don't know how well they'll do down in Miami.
I think it's the humidity that it can be the problem.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. And I've got a blackberry jam plant here that isn't looking well right now because it's winter. Have you had blackberry jam? I don't particularly care for them.
Yeah, I think I might have years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, they kind of taste like paint thinner. They're sold on the internet as this delicious fruit that tastes like blackberry jam, and I've heard actually that some of them do taste like blackberry jam. This one doesn't. It tastes like paint thinner. but it has beautiful flowers. So I decided to
you could
move it up
market
here.
it, you know, and
The
get
pink
it-
thinner
yeah.
plant? It's noni. It's noni. Anyway, so yeah, not a good choice as far as eating is concerned. This is oh good grief, I can't remember what it's called. It is it's a spice. It's used in Latin food a lot. It's bright red. Boy, I'll think of it, but right now I can't remember what it's called.
That's pineapple.
That's a pineapple, yes. I have lots and lots of those. They grow like weeds, so I just kind of plop them down wherever I find space for them, and I've had a couple of pineapples already from the plants that I've put down. So I keep propagating them. I figure one of these years I'll have a bumper crop of pineapples, which will be really nice.
And using a lot of mulch. And
Achiote, that's what that's called.
Ah,
And it
achiote.
yeah, it forms. It looks like a rambutan. Actually, there's a fruit that forms on it, and it's red and it's round and it's spiky. But the seeds are what's used in a lot of Latin American cuisine, like there's different kinds of meat that are cooked with it, and it has this really nice flavor to it. So I figured, what the heck? It's a nice ornamental. It's a nice kind of.
So how big
quasi-edible
does it
plant.
need to be before it starts fruiting?
I don't know. I was really hoping it would have done that by now, but as with so many of my plants, I made a mistake with it and tried to transplant it. No, you'll find that like as we go on the tour, this is
a
really
common theme.
This is it is kind of a common theme. If I can do it wrong, I usually do, which is okay. I mean, I learn from my mistakes. I think like a lot of people do, or I'm praying that a lot of people do. But yeah, this died back almost to nothingness, and so this is really the first year that it's come back with these really. I like the leaves on it too. It's a really nice kind of broad-leafed plant. It's attractive,
And it doesn't seem to be hit by whitefly.
No, it doesn't really seem to have any natural predators here, which is good because I have plenty of them. Even the raccoons don't bother it. Over here is Manila tamarind. This is not looking so good right now, I think because it's winter. Usually it's beautiful. But I think, oh, actually this brown stuff is new leaves. It's not dead leaves. My bad.
Can you say again what it is?
It's a Manila tamarind. It's not your standard tamarind, and in fact I've never eaten one. I've heard both good and bad things about it. But I like it because of the shape of the tree. I keep it trimmed really, really low, and so it gives that kind of waterfall effect, and I really like that. And if it has some nice fruit on it, it has beautiful blooms. If you look them up on the internet, it's a really pretty tree once it starts blooming. It hasn't yet. Maybe this year, I hope. Next, we'll just avoid the stump over there. Or not. Oh, no, let's not avoid the stump. Let's just talk about this one.
Get all the dirty laundry out.
There's plenty of it. We can talk about the thing behind the stump. I've got some passion fruit started here. This is from a cutting. I had passion fruit all along the fence here for the past 3 or 4 years, and it got to the point after 3 or 4 years you kind of have to chop them down because they don't fruit very well anymore. So I took a couple of days and chopped the giant passion fruit down, and then took a bunch of cuttings off of it. And I didn't really want a ton of passion fruit because it's not a fruit. I like passion fruit, but I like it once in a while. And they grow like weeds. And so this is the one remaining. That's the end of the story. This is a stump which used to be a Mexican cream guava, and may actually be a Mexican cream guava again. I've had this thing for 4 or 5 years now, and it just doesn't seem to do well here. I put it in a sunny, sandy place. I figured that was what they said to do. So it was up to about here, and I got tired of it, and so I just chopped it. I figured if it comes back as a smaller bush, it'll be nice, it'll be ornamental, and even if it doesn't bloom, it'll be okay. But I think he got mad at me, and I think it kind of died. I could be wrong. I'll let you know in about a month or two.
There's an X tree here. Do you take that
Yeah,
one
this
out?
used to be a mango, and then in fact when I moved in here, it was about this tall, and it was severely rotten. I tried everything to get the tree back to health, and it had anthracnose, it had everything, ants living in it. It was just crazy. And so I finally had them come and chop it down because it was spreading anthracnose to everything else in the yard, and I have such a big problem with it anyway. No, it had to go. And here's my giant mulch pile.
What do we have here?
This is a hog plum. I bought it because I worked with a bunch of people who really like hog plum. Never had one. I have no idea what they taste like. It's a pretty little tree, and in the springtime, hopefully if it doesn't die back from the cold weather, you get these really tiny little purple blooms that kind of shoot off of the leaf intersections here. And it's supposed to be delicious. I have no idea whether it is or whether it isn't, but I'll find out. And if I don't like it, out it goes.
Oh, we have a little attempt at citrus here.
Yeah. This is my last attempt at citrus. This I actually grew from seed. It's a sour orange. And I got the seed
One of those nasty plants when you grow them from seed. Lots of big spikes on there.
It's a really nasty plant in terms of spikiness. But you can see, I've had this in the ground for about a month now. And I'll bet you if I turn some of these leaves over, it's already got the psyllids on it. Maybe not. Maybe it's just malnutrition. It's hard to tell. But this is going to come out. I was really, really hoping that it would do better than that, but I'm done with citrus. When I moved in here, I had 8 citrus trees because I didn't know. You move from somewhere else and nobody tells you about
Florida
each other.
citrus.
Yeah. Exactly. You come down here. You come down here. I'm waving the plate around at you. You come down here and automatically a thing. I mean, it's the first thing that comes to your mind. Oh, I'm going to grow mandarins. I'm going to grow grapefruits. I'm going to grow whatever. No, it doesn't happen. You come down, you plant all these trees, and 2 weeks later, they look like this. And it's whether this. I think this is HLD, but I do get the psyllids or the. I think they're called psyllids, the little bugs that transmit it down here. And every single tree that I've purchased has just died. So this was my last ditch attempt, and unfortunately, it's gonna get replaced with jackfruit.
All right, that's something. It's like one thing about all the problems with citrus in Florida, it opens the door for exploring all the other tropical fruit.
You know what? It does, and I'm hoping that one of the nice results of the citrus blight is increased production in mangoes and increased diversity in mangoes. I think that would be really cool if that was a side effect, because they grow so well here and they don't seem to be affected as badly by stuff as the citrus trees do.
So we have another date palm?
Yeah, another date palm, and I've got, this is a passion fruit. That's Passiflora melliformis, I think. I just planted that out maybe 2 months ago, if that. It'll take over. I mean, this whole fence is going to end up being a giant passion fruit interspersed with the weed of the jasmine that seems to grow everywhere. You can't get rid of it once it's there. So that'll be nice, but it'll probably be next year before that one's fruiting at all.
So it looks like you've got a couple different varieties of bananas.
Yeah, I didn't know that, actually. These were here when I moved in. I talked to a lady down the street, and she said that there was an Indian couple who lived here before I did, and they had planted a bunch of banana trees, and I thought that they were all dwarf. For the last couple of years, I've gotten growth that's been about 4 or 5 feet, and that was about it. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this giant humongo tree came up, and I don't know what variety it is. It hasn't fruited yet, so I can't tell, but it looks interesting. The finger bananas are good. They're not great. I don't think that they're a fantastic eating banana. I do eat them.
But you don't enjoy it.
No, I do enjoy it, but they're not like I think that maybe the best bananas in the whole world. And they're a nice little ornamental as well. I think if I get to the point where I don't have space, they'll come out. But I like that kind of tropical look, and they don't really take up that much space. This one I'm really interested to find out what it is. I was gonna pull it up and transplant it, but it's so close to blooming now, I think I'll just leave it alone, even though it's stuck up in the tree. If you want to get a shot of the banana stuck in the tree.
This is a tough weed to get rid of, isn't it?
It is, but I actually like it.
Yeah, it's already.
It's really pretty, and interspersed with the bromeliads, they're as prickly as that thing is. And so I just leave them both alone. They go to town. They seem to enjoy each other's company. So I just leave them. We have mulberry over here. Oh, we have some ripe You want some mulberries? We have actually ripe mulberries on here. Who knew? I haven't been paying attention. Have a mulberry. They're delicious. They look funny. They've got hair, but they're good, I promise.
Yeah,
They are. They really are.
We grow them.
Oh, you do? So
Well,
you're
we
sick of them?
Used to grow them.
And
But
you
they're
got
really-
tired of them back then?
It's a great fruit. It's,
I love these. I make preserves out of them and sauces and stuff. Do you want one as well?
They're good.
Mulberry.
Oh, I see one right here.
Oh, there. Yeah, pick them up, please.
Well,
The
please.
birds
I
haven't
love them, but
discovered
please
them
eat
yet,
them all.
So I end up. No, you can eat them all. I very rarely come out and pick them off because I forget that it's here, even though it's like right in front of my window. And the birds haven't discovered them yet, so nobody's eating them unless I remember to come out. Super easy to grow. Literally just stick a stick in the ground and they form other bushes, as you can tell. I've got 3 other ones over there. That's exactly what I did. I cut a branch off, stuck it in the ground, and voila, that's what happens. And for me, they're a nice enough fruit that they're worth growing a couple, maybe along the side of the house. So if I run out of fruit to eat, I can have some nice mulberries. If there's an apocalypse and I have to survive on mulberries.
So do you trim them back after the fruit, or?
I hadn't trimmed this one for 3 years, and it was enormous. It was probably. It's a weeping mulberry, which is not what I had ordered, but that's what came. And it was probably up to about here, all the way around. It was just this enormous kind of spider of a mulberry bush. And it was dragging on the ground. It was getting, as you can see, it gets kind of light. And when it started dragging on the ground, it got a lot worse. And so I thought, well, I'll just chop it back and see what happens. I've limited my fruit production over the year by doing that because it blooms on new growth, or on old growth. I'm sorry, but it was the only way to kind of keep it clean. And I think every year I'm going to just keep hacking it back because I don't really want it getting tangled up in the trees or, being in competition with the mangoes.
Yeah, ours had gotten a trunk on it that was rather large, and I wanted a short tree, and it just doesn't work out once that trunk gets so big. So
Yeah.
It's great that you cut it back when it's young, because it's not. There's not a good way to save it later. 'Cause the wood is so soft.
And even at this height, it's really difficult to control because it can put out 3 or 4 feet of new growth in a single season. So. Lovely bush, really, really pretty. Good fruit, but it is kind of a space hog. So I was debating moving it, but I'm a little nervous about trying to pull up a plant of that size. I don't have good luck with moving plants, as you will see.
You have a lot of experience with
I have a lot of experience, not a lot of successful experience. This is, I put this in the ground maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and it hasn't really taken off yet, but it's a vanilla bean plant. Not sure what variety of vanilla bean, but we'll find out when that happens. I don't know how large they get, which could be a problem as well because I've got the 2 giant oak trees over it, kind of shading it out a little bit. But we'll see. It was one of those things that I got as an extra. I think I ordered some rambutans or something from someone, and they sent this.
threw it in the
Yeah,
box.
they did. A lot of people do that, and that's really fun. But you end up with these plants that you're not really sure what to do with because it's not something that was on the agenda.
But they were sure what to do with it.
Yeah,
Put it in the box.
it wasn't on their agenda either. They just shifted off to you. Oh, here you go, a gift for you. Over here we've got bad time of year for it. Here. This is my nursery garden. What remains of my turmeric plants? They look really ugly, and I'm sorry about that, but it's winter, and that's what happens. I have a ton of turmeric that grows in here, and it's a weed. It's lovely. I mean, it's a great weed to have, but it spreads naturally all over the place. And so, if you love turmeric, plant a couple of bulbs, and in a couple of years, you'll have this giant thing of turmeric everywhere, which is both good and bad. You get all the turmeric you could possibly want. If you want to dye things yellow, it's perfect. If you really like Indian food, it's a great thing to have.
So do you use very much of it? So you don't really
very
like
rarely.
Indian food.
Sid was using turmeric for a while as a health thing, and so that's why I planted it initially. But then it started kind of taking over, and I pulled it all out. And I didn't actually end up pulling it all out, apparently, because it just grew back like crazy this year. And I've got a little bit of ginger remaining over here as well. In the summer that looks better, but right now I'm embarrassed. And a couple of pineapples. I've got a vanilla orchid over here too, that, believe it or not, made it through the cold spell. That really surprised me. I've been growing this since I moved in here.
I like all your bromeliads in here.
Yeah, the lady that sold the house put a bunch of bromeliads in the trees, and I thought that was a great idea. So I just kind of left them there. Anyway, that's a vanilla orchid. Get in there to see it. Very, very surprised that it's still alive after the cold temperatures that we had, but it seems to have come through okay. So maybe one of these years I'll get a vanilla pod off of it. And more pineapples, because anywhere that there's free space, there will be pineapples. Here's another guava. Again, I planted a bunch of guava seeds. I do as much as I can from seed. The problem is I forget what they are. And so I got that off of the internet, as I do with everything. Grew it out, but it could be a purple guava, it could be a pineapple guava, and it could be a strawberry guava. Not sure. It hasn't fruited yet, so once it does, we'll find out. Ornamentals, some Hoyas and some amaryllis. Over here is the lychee, our little lychee. This is my baby.
What variety is that?
I think it's Mauritius. I can't remember. It's either Mauritius or Hop-Ip. Ikhop?
Pocket. It looks more like Mauritius.
Yeah.
Pocket. It's more of a upright.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I didn't know that. I have tried to grow a lychee tree here since the day I moved in, and they've all died.
A lot of organic matter.
Well, that's it. That was the thing that actually made it take off. Is I just mulched the heck out of it, and this year it's flushed really, really well for me. And I'm hoping, against hope, that maybe I'll get a few blooms. Maybe asking too much of it. Don't know. But yeah, I'm very happy about that. If I can get lychees, I would be very pleased.
So you were mentioning, I had forgotten about this, the passion fruit in the tree. It was a mistake. This is a purple contagious purple popsicle, and I planted it under the tree because they don't do well as seedlings in full sun, and I forgot that it was there. And the next thing I knew, I had this enormous vine in my tree. And it's not bad. I mean, it's not choking the tree out or anything, but when it fruits, you get pelted by passion fruit as it falls. And they're hard. They can hurt you. They fall off the tree and scatter about and what have you. But it seems to me like passion fruit does better in the tree. This one has gone absolutely berserk, whereas the other passion fruits, well, the milk one probably isn't as good. example, I've got laurifolia back there. And that's almost as old as this one is, but it doesn't have a tree to climb on. And this one, I don't know, I think the tree made the difference.
That was
This is a cha-cha. This is, I should have told you, it's munchkin. Because everything in my lawn is small. I don't have any full size. This is more mulberry. Literally stuck in the ground. That's what happens. You end up with tons of mulberries. You might go home with some. So these are achachas. It's a relative of the mangosteen. They're supposed to be really delicious. Maybe 20 years. We'll find out.
so gross.
They grow well. 3 years. But yeah, they do just fine here. I haven't had any major issues. The only pest I've had on this was aphid. And I get them on everything here, so that's not really all the exception. But yeah, they do okay. This is probably a 2-year-old plant. And they say after they get to their second year, they start growing a lot faster. So I'm expecting some increased growth this year. That would be nice. Because they just kind of sit there and make me mad.
Cut back for transplant?
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't know you could do that. Until I got that banana over there and it came in the mail, like chopped down to a stump, which really startled me. It's the pup of the large banana tree over there. So I figured I'd give it a shot over here. If it's a decent banana, then it's not. I've got little grapevine. This is a muscadine of some other denomination. And it hasn't really taken off yet. I only got it in the year. You know what this is because you've got one as well. And I don't know whether I'm torn. I don't know whether to keep the ganepa or not to keep the ganepa. I grew it from seed, so I'm kind of attached to it. And I've got 2 more over there, so I'm hoping I get a nice male-female ratio. But it's kind of a space hog, and I don't know. I'm torn. I like ganepas. They're good. They're tasty. They're small. But a mango would look kind of nice there as well. And behind you we have quaimock, which is an artocarpus. It's a relative of courgette. They have little segmented fruits. And I'm dying to try them. They're supposed to be really good. It's one of the few artocarpuses that can get down into the Chinese major. So this plant is as happy as can be. Again, it's about American, so it's starting to flesh out. It's doing really good. This is what remains of my. So you didn't know you were coming to witness the whole. This is what remains of my. What is this? I don't remember what this is. This is a pomegranate. Actually, that's why it looks bad right now. So it's winter. This is a 2-year-old plant-ish. The raccoons really enjoyed it, and it bloomed last year. So I'm hoping maybe I'll get some pomegranates this year, but it's just not the right season, so it's really likely.
Another date palm?
Another date palm, and this is the bane of my existence. Is this? I'm not sure if it's Anthracnase or whether it is Phytophthora, but a week ago, that plant was healthy. And you can see that plant starting to get it now. And once the leaves start turning brown like this, within a week, 2 weeks max, it's pretty much toast. There's nothing left of it. So I'm not sure whether that's a kind of Phytophthora or whether it's...
So you've had blueberries before that have met the same fate?
No. This is the first one, unfortunately, that's done it. And I was going to give it to Serge, actually, so no, he's not going to get it because it's dead. Sorry, Serge. It's dead.
It's not as heavy anymore.
Yeah. Presents for you. I put it in a box. Here's Passiflora. folia. These need 2 specimens of different genetics to fruit. I didn't know that when I planted it. But it's a pretty flower, so it's going to sit there for ornamental purposes. The other blueberry is doing fine. Sapodia. This one fruited last year. It's a 2-year-old plant. It fruited last year, and the squirrels just love them.
Marina.
Is it Marina?
Read it all.
Oh, there we go. Okay, I know where it's M something. I couldn't remember what it was. The squirrels really like it, so it's unlikely that I'm going to get very many sapodias to eat because they seem to get to the point where they're edible. And I don't know whether you can take them off early or not.
Yeah, I'll show you. When you get there, come to our place.
Oh, that's right. You have sapodia, don't you? Oh, we're avoiding those. No. Keep the eyes averted from the mangoes. 2 more ganeppas. Hopefully one of those is male and one of those is female. This is a really, really good papaya. It's a red one, but it doesn't like fruiting, and I can't figure out why it is. I've had 3 or 4 fruits, and they get about that long. But it can go these great expanses without any fruit, and I'm not sure why it's doing that. It's very strange.
Might need a male.
It might need to be chopped down. And that's possible. It may need cross-pollination. I don't know. But the fruit from it are excellent. And I'm not a big papaya lover at all, so I mean that's saying something.
You got a lot of sunshine in parts of your yard.
I do. This year I do my yarding. I've done it in stages. And here's another tamarind. This tree's going to come down this year. When I moved in here, this entire back where this fence is now was just this giant wall of stuff. Yeah, it was just stuff. And so over the years it's come down. Thankfully I've got some new neighbors in the back who have chopped down a lot of the trees that were kind of growing wild on their side of the fence, and the hurricane did some to get rid of that too, which was great. But this has got to come down. This is causing my carambola to not get enough light, and as you can see, she's not faring very well right now.
Looks like some iron sticks.
You think so? See, that's why. So yeah, this is Carrie. I think this is it. Oh, there she is. Okay. I think it's Carrie. Yeah, sure enough. Okay.
Something a little bit visible.
There we are. Yeah, I get lots of bloom on her, but not a whole lot of fruit, and I'm attributing that to this one right here. I'm thinking maybe she's not getting enough light to fruit. I don't know.
How old of plant is it?
This is 2 years old. Let me say it's about 2. So I would have expected some fruit by now. I'm very disappointed in her.
Yeah. This summer, at that time.
I keep telling myself, yeah, it's just a little while until I get some fruit, and it hasn't really done much of anything. It's a pretty plant though, and the blooms are really nice, so I wouldn't take it out either way. But I do think maybe that she's just not getting enough light here. So that was a durian, but now it's nothing because it got wiped out.
Could be a blueberry.
Yeah, it could be, but it's not going to be. And we'll just avert your eyes from all of this stuff. And another, these are the seedlings that I'm kind of trying to hoist up on you. This is actually a really, really nice papaya. These are great. I like the yellow ones. They're really, really tasty. So I'm very pleased. This high producer, obviously, they just take forever to kind of fruit out, but they're enjoyable. That's it. Me and papayas historically have not gotten along at all. Over here, what do we have over here? I have loquat, which got attacked by blackfly. And got rid of that, but it'll be fine. I've got a little seedling mango, another little seedling onions for its top.
This is, what are they called? Patagatuba. It bloomed this past year, but I didn't get any fruit, so this was yeah. This is what's left of a Larcana. It's actually going to come back. It's just been through hell and back, unfortunately. This is another transplant victim. Don't ever transplant guavas in the summer. I should have. What was I thinking? I don't know. But it'll be fine because I have it in a pot now. It was retaining too much moisture. I had put a lot of mulch around it, and guavas don't like that at all. They like to be dry. So it wasn't very happy with me. And then a little seedling. This is I'm not sure what kind of a jackfruit it is. It's a mini. So I think I'm going to put that back there where the durian used to be. Yeah.
I see one more thing to look at over here.
What?
In between these bananas, we have a forest of
Oh, jeez, yeah. It's big. I didn't notice it. This is kind of my This is where I put all of my pineapple pots. Whenever, well, I've stopped doing it now because I ran out of space, but...
I don't know, you could take over the ground.
I was actually debating putting a couple more squares in, but I need the space for other stuff. And so, because they're propagating by pups, like a Bruneria does, I don't think I'm going to need additional space. I think I'm just going to take the pups off and keep it there. But yeah, this is my little pineapple garden.
So have you harvested fruit from?
Yeah, I've had 4, I think, out of here so far. And I was surprised, because these are only maybe a year and a half old now, not even. So I'm hoping to get some production out of them this year. And like I said, several have already. This one is really good.
So you have a little mini raised bed here, and it looks like potting soil, is that right?
It's a mix. I got some potting soil, I got some perlite, I got, gosh, what else did I put? Mulch, just all kinds of stuff, because there are people who say that pineapples like dry, there are people who say that pineapples like wet. My experience has been that pineapples like wet. So I figured if I could raise them up, this was going to be my vegetable garden, but I've given up on that, so you know what, replace it with pineapples. They're easy, they just kind of like hang out and look at you, and it's good. So yeah, I'm hoping to get some pineapple this year. That would be great. Let's see what else. Oh, we got another giant banana tree. This is what is that one? Vermicelli. I'm not sure whether I should be growing that in the ground or not, but we're going to test it and see whether it comes down. And that one is supposed to be blue java. I'm not sure whether it's not. It hasn't fruited yet, so but it's this one's really whatever variety.
So that was Scott's non-mango fruit collection, which has been quite extensive and interesting also. So thanks very much for showing it to us. You're welcome.